Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you in the European Parliament. I'd like especially welcome of course, our speakers. Beside the speakers, I'd like to welcome our members from the European Parliament. I see here James Ellis. I have seen here Sabina.
Fine.
Yeah, fine. Lambert von Nistelrooy. And I'd like to welcome especially those who were here already in the morning, 8 o'clock, in the programming committee of the EIF. So I can inform you already that we have got a good program for the rest of the presentation. I'd like to tell you the name of the speakers, although I think you have it in front of you. Our very first speaker, Karim Lassina, who is Vice President of External Affairs, EU, Caribbean, Central Latin America, Transatlantic Relations, and AT&T, has got an immediate challenge. He had to go with the son to the hospital. He promised that he might can come with us, but if not, then we hope that the son will be all right. And then we will have our speaker, Mr. Vittorio Valero, and Mr. Deputy Coordinator, Infrastructures, Access, Digital Agenda for the Piedmont region for Italy. Thanks for coming. And then we have Mr. Michael Garvey, Vice Chair of Buckinghamshire Business First, representing the digital business first. And then we will have small comments from the Committee of Regions, from Gábor Bihari, who happened to be Hungarian like me. And then we have some smaller contributions from Stefan Zotti from Cabinet of Johannes Hahn, and Anthony Villan, whom we all know, who are working with the digital issues here in the Parliament, Director for Electronic Communication Networks and Services Directorate. And normally I should be stopped here, but as we have got a bit of spare time, I'd like to say also a few words as a rapporteur for the deployment, cost-effective deployment of the broadband. And with this, I'd like to especially welcome the person I work in the Commission the most, Mr. Guzman. I'm very happy that you could come and you are here with us. And I do hope that you will take the floor as well to answer some of the questions or share your opinion. And so just a very few thoughts from myself on the broadband. Because I'd like to change your perspective. When we are talking about the broadband deployment, it seems to be the most boring dossier somebody ever done in this Parliament. Who and why would work and bother by digging or by asking permits? It's not really something people wish to work with. It's ugly, isn't it? Yeah. And in the reality, after I learned the dossier, I have to tell you that this is one of the most politically interesting dossiers, dealing with the most fundamental right of people, namely, do we have a right in the 21st century to be connected? Do we have a fundamental right in the 21st century to be part of the society? Because today, if you are not interconnected, you are hardly member of the society. The discussions, the gatherings are on the internet platforms. Are we happy to travel all around the world, feeling at home because you can interconnect to the internet, but just try to go 60 kilometers away from Budapest, when I do live, and then you are lost? Yeah, you are totally lost. You have a 2 megabyte speed, so you are totally out as a citizen. It takes ages to you to download something, if you can. Is it right that the same people are living in the rural area in Europe and cut from the internet for their societal participation? They cut for economic reason too. Today, even the small and medium-sized enterprise anywhere in Europe has to find its customers through the internet, has to find its supplier in the internet, has to find its way to the tax officer via internet, because this is the most efficient platform to use. And if we would add all together the hours which lost in each single day by letting people work in front of those very, very slow computers, we could boost the European economy. And this is why I do believe that digging together, looking for a permit together, go for cooperation, find the synergies, is just has to be one of the answers of that question. Of course, it could be another answer. It could become a universal service. But we all know that in the today world, it will not be so easy. And if I would ask for the universal service, some people would say, okay, it's a pure socialist. And yes, I'm a pure socialist in that sense. When you look this question which I raised, that around the 30% of the European citizens living mostly in the countryside do not have or have a very, very limited access to the internet, then we have to think also that in 25th of October we will celebrate the 57th anniversary of the European Union. And during these 57 years, we worked so hard to keep the rural policies, to keep the European rural alive. And today, when you look the major reason for migration from rural to the cities, it is having or not to having the internet. Therefore, digging together and go for permit once, and go for cooperation, and go for synergy is an imperative task for me, and I do hope that for this Parliament. I organized a hearing on this, and I know, because I have met hundreds of companies from different sectors, I've got 100 times why we cannot do that. But ladies and gentlemen, I learned that how great success happened in Barcelona when the telecommunication network was distributed through the sewing channels. I have seen the presentation from the London Tube, how successfully the telecommunication broadband could arrive to the London citizens, share the cost with the London Metro Tube. I have seen and I have heard the success story from Portugal, that how the Portugal Rail, when they have got a major competitive issues, and they have to look for a cost saving, they could find the synergy and the way of cooperation with the telecommunication networks to digging together and go together. And finally, I have seen the several cases from the German, Danish and the Swedish electricity suppliers to go together. And those success stories just a proof for me that it can be done. And if it can be done, we have to provide the opportunity to make it happen. And therefore, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will push hard that by February this legislation, which is a basic infrastructure in the 21st century, will be ready. And I do hope that the companies are sitting here will understand it, as well the members of the European Parliament. Then we have to choose as a strategy the 4 letters which was used by, if I am right, 10 years ago by Nike, so, which is GFDI. Just, fast, do it. And the just, fast, do it way is a regulation. The directive is just to do it. Yes, I want to get for GFDI. Just fast do it. This is what the Commission wants. This is what Mr. Barroso wants. I am very happy that the next European Council will discuss those, among other subjects, this as well. I am very happy with the conclusion of the Council just in this week. And yes, forget the boring digging and go for Europeans, for all Europeans. Thank you. And with this, I immediately like to ask our first speaker to come with the success story from Piedmont region. So, Vittorio Valero, thank you very much for being with us tonight.